Hey everyone, welcome to the video. I know it's a big surprise, but Seekers are pretty tough to use. And that's really for a couple reasons this season. One, against offense bases, you have to be super fast that even if you make one mistake, it's really drawn out, like 1 second could be the difference between a win or loss. And against defense bases, one mistake means you're not going to just be a few seconds slower, but you won't even get through the base. So for those reasons, we might change it up a bit. Not always run seekers, so we picked up lasers. An important thing is we want to leave them level 1, because unlike other troops where level 1 to max you get like 200% bonus in stats, lasers only get around 15%. So when we're short on tokens like now, it's completely fine if you leave them at level 1. Another thing is, we got the one hero that is pretty strong even at tick 1, and that's going to be Sparky. On any hit, she can spawn critters which, as we know, are affected by troop damage and troop health. But the one thing we're going to change is some of our boosts. So because we're now going for a more defensive style of play, we're going to change troop damage to building health, and over here, more troop damage to building damage. And it does suck for people who don't have too many diamonds, but this is kind of the only way for doing easier kind of hits and still winning. With our tokens now, we'll make sure we max out machine guns and flames, the two strongest buildings against seekers. And we can check our stats. Now 80 building health, 100 building damage. And from now on we'll maybe do 10% more on GBE, but everything else getting all that building damage. And let's try out a few hits. And this is a pretty dirty base. Got 80 building health, 100 building damage. It looks pretty mean with those rockets, shock launchers. So it's on these bases where now we can bring in some lasers. What I like to run is 2 rifles and 6 lasers. Sometimes bringing in, let's say, maybe some seekers along. But this base, I think lasers should be just fine. We can go kind of from the right side. And let's say maybe shocking this stuff, we can hack this rocket, and using our defibs for these back ERs. So we know rifles and Sparky are slower, dropping those first, and waiting just a few seconds, then getting the lasers out there. When they get close, we'll do one cryo bomb, hack this rocket, and we'll do one shock too, get a serum on our lasers, a cryo bomb, and then a bunch of defibs towards the back. Get a serum for the defib rifles. And then just more serums. Keep on doing that. Do want to keep on going with those rifles. So it's kind of going. Have the lasers pulling through. And a pretty dirty base, getting it down in 318 and not losing too many troops. So that's kind of the reason why we also switched to this path, because on those dirty bases, we don't have to worry too much on a super crazy seeker hit. We can do kind of a slower approach with lasers, but it's a lot safer. And shout out to James for showing us some of those laser hits. Been pushing in diamond and it's been working out. And this guy here, only 50 building health. And on these 7s, we always do 3 defibs towards the right side. You want to stagger them kind of top to bottom, like one in that boom cannon, one in that damage amp, and maybe one on this mortar. Just right enough so they're out of range of that critter launcher and mortar. And then you'll do 2 shocks. It's fine if you miss one building, so we'll ignore that critter launcher and do 1 shock for this stuff, and then 1 shock on the left. Always doing 1 hack on that shock launcher. And the drop is like a 2-2-4 drop, which we can do Sparky, let's say, on the far left. So 2 there, and 4 there. Cry bomb, 3 defibs, 2 shocks, and a hack. He couldn't finish, so you can kind of take it slow, but Still try for a fast time, get a serum going, maybe a couple arts, get one more serum going. Do want to shock that shock launcher, and keep on doing serum on those rifles, because that's usually the limiting factor. Even one more serum, and only pulling, let's say, 326. But even if that guy did finish, we see that they're pulling mainly like 315, 320 times. And we can break down this space again because there is a lot of moving parts. When dropping Seekers, it's really just 2 over here, 2 on that side, and then 4 on the far right. Because these ERs are going to go down, and they're kind of all going to merge towards this one. So you don't really have to worry about GBE wise, but after the defib, if you can, maybe art a few shock mines and shock this shock launcher. But using this GBE is only after doing defib, because that's the main part on getting all 3 of those ERs. So first you're going to do a cryo bomb, maybe like around there, and that should cover almost all those buildings. The 3 defibs are important. You do 1 right there, 1 right there, and 1 there. It doesn't have to be perfect in those spots, but just as long as it's kind of staggered top to bottom. And the shocks are going to do 1 here and 1 right there. It's fine if you ignore that critter launcher because it should die pretty soon. And then you're going to hack that shock launcher. And as soon as you do all that, cryo bomb, defibs, shocks, and hack, then right away you can do a serum. So it's going to speed up all that stuff. A few seconds later, you do another serum, and they're all going to merge towards these back of yours. And it is kind of a complicated hit, but like last time where you drop Seekers and almost forget about them, all you're focusing on is a defib. Another match over here. This kind of different style base, but he is an offense player, so we'll still run Seekers. We can do even just 1 for this left side, and then focus on the right. What I like doing with this middle shock launcher is just using some defibs. And because you want to clear some mines on the right anyways, you can really just defib, let's say, on top of that cannon. Even drop Sparky on the right side so eventually her critters can also kill it. And you don't want to drop everyone on the left, but to make it simpler, I guess we can. Like everyone on this side, we'll art the first shock mine, but between those ERs we'll keep on doing cryo bomb and go from there. So not forgetting 1 Seek on the left, everyone else here, Sparky on the right, 1 defib right there, and now just watching, kind of alternating between shocks and cryos, get a serum going, and as I get up there, shock that, 1 more cryo towards the left side, and 1 more serum. Need 1 more shock pretty soon, we'll get that now. And a pretty nice split between our Seekers. Pulling a 331. So I guess going all from one side isn't too bad, as long as you make sure you're cryo bombing stuff and using shocks. And see if it's fast enough, but looks like it is. Got a match over here. This guy a diamond player, but we'll try that same hit where we defib the right side. We can maybe drop Sparky towards the left side, do 2 Seekers there, 2 over there, and 4 towards the right. Again, doing 3 defibs, kind of staggered, and really just 2 shocks. 1 on that cannon, 1 getting all this stuff, and hacking that shock launcher. So we'll drop all the Seekers, do cryo bomb, 3 defibs, 2 shocks, and a hack. Do have to wait until we get some GBE for doing a serum. And we'll get that going. Maybe 1 shock on the left flame. And then do a serum pretty soon. Still waiting for some GBE. But the Seekers are looking fine, it's mainly just getting these rifles moving. In fact, we can even speed up those Seekers and do 1 shock. So maybe not too bad a time, 325. And not losing a crazy amount of Seeks either, because we're still using them on these offense bases. But with our defense, oftentimes pulling through. And that's also going to get us to 20, so getting that chest. But it's really switching to defense stats, and we can afford to be slower, and even if we got a super slow time, on that base it would have been a win. So now with our chest, what we are going to do is just more stats on some building damage, because we do want those Seekers to fizzle more often than not. So now having, let's say, 110 building damage. So pretty soon next chest we're going to do even more building damage, get to 120. And if anything, maybe one level on GBE. Because that hit we just showed, if you have 5 more GBE, we can throw that speed serum. But if Seeker hits are a little too tough, maybe you can try this out. It does cost a few diamonds to swap nodes, but it means you don't have to be as fast, and on those defense bases, lose less troops. But that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.